My sleep has been atrocious, so I gave myself 7 days to try 7 habits to finally fix it.
Enough is enough. I need to sort my sleep schedule out because right now it is a mess.
There's no cheating because I will show you the data and you can decide whether I succeeded.
Last night I got 5 hours sleeping.
I discovered the biggest mistake ruining my sleep that I thought was healthy.
This is a scientific experiment where my integrity is paramount.
And a longevity doctor gave me one tweak that changed everything eventually.
Fascinating for the longer term stuff, potentially really bad for day to day.
Hello, if you're new here, my name is Faye, and as an ex-NHS doctor, I know exactly what it's like to feel sleep deprived, struggling to stick to a consistent night routine, and feeling like you're a shell of a human without your morning coffee. Good morning, rise and shine. But worse than the dark circles under your eyes, not getting enough sleep will kill you if you aren't careful. Because if my 7-day sleep experiment taught me anything, it's that I've been getting it all wrong. The biggest obstacle standing between me and a glorious 8 hours sleep a night is, frustratingly, my own life choices. This week was particularly hectic and wasn't exactly conducive of wellness and relaxation. Luckily, my medical school friend Rafi was staying with me and providing emotional and comic relief. Before I could even check my sleeping data as a starting point, I had to whiz out the door to record a podcast with probably the most adventurous woman I've met.
Cheers. Chop chop. We still need to go over my sleep data.
Dr. Sarah is heading off to Antarctica, where she will be completely cut off from the rest of the world for 9 months for research. I am trying to convince her to vlog her experience, hence my small tutorial with my own camera.
So now it's like recording.
Yeah.
But then you can just like flip.
Oh my god.
And then go like that's like, so now it's like recording.
This is so cute. Guys, that episode was so good. I think potentially my favourite episode. Don't tell Savannah that. But it was just like such an interesting story. So we make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss it. The sun was out in London, so as a pale girly, I had to be on my top game with my SPF.
Faye, you're spraying me.
Let's go everywhere.
Wait, spray the.
Before heading back to the studio to record the second podcast of the day, where Rafi actually interviewed me for the season finale. It ended up being a little bit more raw and emotional than I had planned. So I was grateful we got a bit of time to sit in the park in the sunshine with pizza afterwards to decompress before I finally got stuck into my sleep data.
Sorry guys, today has just been a complete mad rush, and the rest of the week is absolutely no different. So enough is enough. I need to sort my sleep schedule out. The first thing I want to do is go through my sleep data on my Whoop to try and work out where I am at the moment, and then from there try and work out what on earth I can do to sort my sleep out, because the science is out there, and I just think I need this week to really be quite intentional with my sleep and have a little bit of a reset and start being a little bit more mindful with what I'm doing, because if I'm going to be honest, it's absolutely my fault. I have no one else to blame but myself. First things first, sleep data. So here is my Whoop.
If you're anything like me, you will have wondered how on earth a watch or a ring can read your sleep data anyway, which I will explain in just a few minutes.
So before I go into my sleep data, I've got up this paper from 2023 on sleep duration, obesity and mortality risk in women. Because for too long, like with everything, women have been treated like little men. So this paper talks about how if you sleep less than 6 hours, you were twice as likely to develop clinical diabetes, and not sleeping enough has actually been linked to an increased risk of dying. It's something I would very much like to get in check. So let's have a look. So last night I got 5 hours and 55 minutes sleeping, and I didn't get enough restorative sleep, so deep sleep and REM sleep combined, and I got 70% of the sleep that I actually needed. And then if we look at the amount of sleep I've got over the last few days, every single day I've got an hour or more less than the sleep that I should be having, which is not ideal.
If any of those words are making no sense at all, do not worry, I will explain them all later in the video.
The question is, which habit am I going to try implement today. I was maybe thinking of going to bed at 8 p.m, but it is 20 to 7 right now and I have so much work to do.
I tried to complete the quickest PubMed search of my entire life to review the research and to decide which were the best habits to include in my 7-day experiment before a realisation derailed my plan.
I have realised that I probably do not have time to do a full PubMed review of lifestyle modifications I can do to increase my deep sleep. However, I have found a sleep expert who has done an episode on Diary of a CEO. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a YouTube transcriber, put it into ChatGPT to get a summary, and then cross-reference the claims that are made on the Diary of a CEO episode against PubMed instead, and try and work out which habit it's best for me to try first. Which should be quicker, I think.
Hours of transcripts, PubMed and ChatGPT later, I was no closer to clarity. I was searching for new information that could change everything, but all that came up were the boring basics that everyone already knows. I was worried that this was going to end up being the most boring video on sleep on the internet. Little did I know that I would end up learning so much by the end of the week. If I'm being honest, Dylan, I don't know if chamomile infusion is going to do the trick. Time was ticking and I still didn't have a habit to start with, so I took matters into my own hands and went with a lesser known sleeping hack. Chamomile tea may work on the same receptors as a benzodiazepine to calm your body. It has a much weaker effect and the evidence isn't very strong, but I had to start somewhere. And the outcome was definitely not what I expected. Last night was not a good sleep. I had a nightmare and there was a ginger man sticking his head through the window. I'm not lying. I was terrified. Like, you know when your heart just absolutely really stops? And I'm wondering if it's because myself and Rafi had pizza yesterday. So I had a little bit of cheese. Rise and shine.
How did you sleep?
Not very well.
Oh,
yeah, I'll have a look at my sleep data now. I just told Dylan a ginger man poked his head through my window. Yeah, like it felt really like real life. Yeah. This ginger man just like...
Ed Sheeran, was it?
He was a scary looking ginger man and just literally like stared me down.
That is quite frightening.
It was really frightening. I felt I don't even have windows like that. Have a cookie. Unfortunately, the ginger man wasn't the only negative influence on my sleep data. Dylan, stop laughing. My sleep data is slightly skewed because Rafi did not arrive back at 20 to 11. So
sorry guys.
But tonight I will be getting in bed by 10.
Oh, was that the target? Oh
no. Yeah, that's alright.
No, I just want a little bite.
Admittedly, I can't imagine cookies have a good influence on sleep. However, rules are rules. Adding one habit per day, and today's change was going to be the hardest of them all, and you'll see why.
What are you going to try today?
No caffeine.
No caffeine?
Yeah, no caffeine.
So you're not getting coffee today?
I'm not going to get coffee today.
Oh my god. Fair enough.
And today's a big day, actually.
Today's a big day.
Our exciting day started with filming at an exclusive London longevity clinic. I feel like I'm cosplaying as a posh person. This clinic looks super posh. So I'm gonna wear these white trousers and I've got like a blue stripy shirt. And then I'm gonna wear that with my loafers, I think. Once I ensured that no one could smell the state school radiating off me, I eventually got to review my sleep data from the night before. What do we think? Mm-hmm. Do we think it's giving?
It's smart.
I went to a very expensive school.
Range Rover Mom.
Range Rover Mum. Range Rover Mum, I'm 26!
Yeah. Halfway there, babes. Yeah, okay.
It's amazing how much better clothes look when you iron them.
Mi gusta mucho.
Rafi has cooked me some breakfast. I'm gonna eat this and get out the door. I should probably grab my phone in case they call. And then I'm just gonna do my makeup in the car again.
Yeah, I mean, it worked last time.
Yeah, there we go. I'm gonna quickly look through my sleep data. Okay, so my overall sleep score was 77%. I got 76% of the hours I needed. 59% for sleep consistency, which is not good. But sleep efficiency was 94%. I got to sleep quickly, which is unsurprising. I was quite tired. And then actually slept through the night.
Okay.
I had 30 minutes of sleep stress.
Is that when the ginger man popped his head in?
This peak is where I saw the ginger man. I got 7 hours of sleep. 7 hours, 10 minutes of sleep.
Wait, last night?
Yeah.
That's good.
I didn't get enough deep sleep and I didn't get enough REM sleep again.
Enough to see a ginger man, though.
Enough to see a ginger man, yeah. And I only got 76%. Actually, my sleep was down. The night before it was 82%. I'm down 77%.
Monday was 82%?
Yeah.
What did you do Monday?
You arrived.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not doing too well, actually. Tonight is no caffeine. And it's a busy day to be choosing no caffeine.
After rushing out the door, I was faced with my first challenge of the day, overcoming temptation. Can I have a decaf latte? Have you got soy?
No, we have oats, almond,
Coconut?
coconut.
Yeah. Whilst Rafi and I get mic'd up, let's finally get to the bottom of how watches and rings can measure our sleep. Sorry to spoil the fun, but rings and watches don't actually know you're asleep, but they use measurements to make a pretty good guess. A 2024 paper looked at the accuracy of the Apple Watch, Oura Ring and Fitbit in measuring sleep data and found it was over 95% sensitive. When we initially get to sleep, our breathing, heart rate and temperature all tend to drop, and wearable devices pick that up. These measurements then change again based on the phase of the sleep cycle we are in, and then all this data is compiled to essentially build a picture of what your sleep was like. It isn't the same as sleep investigations you may get from a doctor that also measure your brainwaves and muscle activity, but it is a much more affordable and accessible way for us to better understand our sleep.
There's probably a list of 1,000 things that people could do to improve their sleep, and probably only 10 of them will help you. I think it's really helpful to spend time with you working out what it is that works for you, and then doing those things and then binning off the other things. One of the most important things is to measure it so you know where you are, and then you know what's working and what isn't working. Do you track your sleep?
I do.
Oh good, even with a very smart one actually.
We were filming a video about how to live longer where Dr. Charlie Cox shared some wisdom about every aspect of life. The full video will be out in the next few weeks, but I had to include the warning he gave about monitoring your sleep data too closely.
The Hawthorne effect is when you change your behaviour because you're being watched.
It's finding that balance between actually when you are confronted with the data, it does make you think, be more mindful about your behaviours versus being controlled by numbers. I might have woken up and not felt tired, but then say if I look at my sleep data and I see that I've had bad sleep, do I then feel tired later in the day because I'm aware that I've had a bad sleep from... Yeah.
There are studies to demonstrate that that is true. So they've given patients fake data about how poorly they slept and then asked them how they felt, and they feel much worse. Like it's a real thing. So it's a big problem of these wearables. Probably for most people the benefits of these come not from looking at it in the morning and then it ruining or making your day, but looking at that 30 or 180 day average and being like, you know, what is it in this 180 days that has made everything better or worse? I'm going to wear an eye mask every day for a month and see what difference it makes to my sleep. And then you look at that data the month you did it and the month you didn't, and there's a big difference. Then you're like, well, then it's really useful. Fascinating for the longer term stuff, potentially really bad for day to day, because your life is go at the moment. It's difficult to get these things right. And I don't think you should be searching for perfection. You're having this wonderful, exciting period of your life. I don't think you should stop, because it sounds like you're on a very exciting route, but we'll try and find some ways to just make it a slightly healthier way and a slightly less risky for your long-term health way. Right?
Well, hopefully. If only I'd listened to Dr. Cox there, I would have saved myself a lot of heartache later in the video. After spending the morning dissecting my current health or lack thereof, I was feeling pretty motivated to make healthier choices. Sadly, that did not last. I can count on one hand the number of days I haven't drank coffee since starting medical school 7 years ago, so I would class myself as a little bit dependent. Guys, I am dying for a coffee. I have nothing left to give, but we have one more podcast recording. We gotta keep it. I had to muster up all the energy I had to record this episode. If you do watch the episode, you'll have to let me know whether you could see the energy leaving my body. But this conversation was brilliant, which helped so much, and I am so excited for you to listen. When it was over, I did feel like I'd been hit by a truck, and as a consequence, some questionable decisions were made. I know this is exactly what I should not be doing after spending the day in a longevity clinic, but I am so hungry and tired. I have not had any coffee. And I know there is a bar of Toblerone in this cupboard right here, right now. I'm just gonna have one chunk to stop my blood sugar levels being too low. And then I'm gonna have proper food, I promise. Last square. Triangle. Not exactly the epitome of health, but it did give me the energy I needed to cook a nutritious meal of edamame, veggies and egg fried rice. But not quite enough to break my bad habit of eating dinner in front of binge-worthy TV. I just about survived my caffeine-free day, and I was ready to tackle another habit the next day. Now that does not look like the face of a well-rested woman, but we will have to wait to see what the sleep data says and whether my caffeine-free day was worth it. But today is a new day, so we have a new habit to focus on: morning movement. Which is why I am so happy Gymshark are sponsoring today's video, so you can get some money off your next gym fit. Research has shown that morning movement helps to reduce your cortisol towards the end of the day, meaning you are able to get a better night's sleep. But if you are anything like me, getting out the door in the morning to exercise can be a challenge. I have found having a cute gym set to wear gives me some positive reinforcement to keep my exercise habit consistent. I'm wearing the Adapt Flex tank with shelf, which is very supportive and flattering, and the Adapt Flex leggings. You can get 10% off Gymshark by using the code drfaye, and I wear more of my favourite Gymshark items later in the video, so if you wanted to add anything else to your shopping cart, I will also link those down below along with the timestamp in the description box. After the gym, I was dying to see whether my caffeine-free day was worth it, only to discover it might have been completely pointless. Whilst I eat my breakfast, we're going to go through the sleep data from last night. See if no caffeine made a difference. Oh no, is my Whoop dead? Don't have any sleep data. Ah, that's an issue.
Is it not connected?
No. A few minutes of anxious tapping and desperation later, I discovered my efforts had not been in vain. So all I did was turn my phone on and off. But I'm going to go through my sleep data now. Okay, 80% on sleep. So I think that is the best I've had all week, which is pretty good. Sleep consistency, 64%. Sleep efficiency, 94%. High sleep stress was 0%. I got 7 hours 15 of sleep and enough light sleep, deep sleep and REM sleep. 83% of the sleep that I needed. And you can definitely see a spike at 10:15. At night, which is where something stressful was going on bodies. But otherwise, pretty good. Great news for my sleep. I really would like to get a 90 by the end of the week. Not so great news for my future relationship with coffee. Okay, today I'm gonna try just having a matcha and see if that is any better for my sleep. Matcha has L-theanine in it, which tends to be a little bit more calming, a little bit more relaxing than coffee.
but we'll see.
I'm sure by now you're wondering what on earth any of these scores actually mean, and luckily for you, I have a couple of minutes whilst I catch up on work on my laptop and clean my flat to explain what these 4 Whoop sleep scores even mean. First, sleep sufficiency. This is the percentage of sleep you needed versus what you actually got. Then sleep consistency, the timing of last night's sleep compared to the timing of sleep on the previous 4 days, and this is a measurement of how consistent your bedtime and wake times are. Sleep efficiency is the percentage of time in bed that you actually spent asleep. Finally, sleep stress is how much time you spent in high stress throughout the night. For example, if you have a bad nightmare about a ginger man. And these 4 scores are used to get the overall sleep performance score. I need to not be working, but I'm trying to get this trailer sorted for the first podcast episode. God, this is not a good angle for me.
Right, this guy.
Morning movement may be helpful for lowering evening cortisol, but it seems I was intent on spiking it again. Our bodies aren't like light switches. We cannot expect them to be able to switch from productive, energized and focused to relaxed and sleepy in a second. It's the biggest issue impacting my sleep at the moment because I just can't help getting sucked into working late into the night, or if it's not working late, it's watching a binge-worthy series. I think the secret, in all honesty, to getting to bed on time is not having a series on the go. We've just been so busy with exciting life stuff I'll get to later on, but at the end of the day, neither of us have much energy, so we go for the easy option, sitting in front of the projector and being non-verbal. If there is one thing I do actually need to work out in this video, it's why on earth I spend the entire... Why on earth I spend the entire day excited to go to sleep. Because I'm tired. Then the moment bedtime comes, everything else becomes so much more interesting.
The age-old question.
The age-old question. Bada boom, bada bing. Right, team. Let's go get some morning movement in. Bra is Gymshark. I will link it down below. And these are my marathon shorts. Dylan, what are you wearing?
Under Armour.
Gymshark shorts. Bada boom, bada bing. Should I look at my sleep data now or when we get back from the run? When we get back from the run.
Let's go.
Yeah, okay. Drum roll, please. Let's see what my sleep was saying last night. Come on. I think I have realised that the next intervention has to just be getting into bed at 9 p.m, regardless of whether I'm tired or not, because it seems to be at 8, I go from being really excited for bedtime to finding everything super interesting and actually my brain deciding it wants to stay up all night. So maybe if I nip that in the bud by just getting into bed at 9, that has worked in the past. Okay, right, Whoop, come on, give me some good news, please. Do you want to hear my sleep data, Dylan?
Yeah.
84%, 97% sleep efficiency and 0% high sleep stress. 7 hours, 11 of sleep, which I think is basically the same. Sleep consistency, 75%, yeah, that's unsurprising. Sleep efficiency, up by 2%. Best score! I got my best score!
Hey, so what's all this about going to bed at 9?
Well, I would really like to hit a 90. But, interestingly, yesterday's intervention was morning movement. And morning movement is supposed to have a positive impact on
lowering your cortisol later in the day. And I had a matcha instead of coffee. And I did also have chamomile tea at bed. But it may be that morning movement has had the biggest impact. Interesting. Well, I've done my morning movement this morning. I will have a matcha today and not a coffee. I will try and combine everything and get into bed at 9 p.m. and see if I can get that score up to a 90 tonight. I'm still not quite getting the 8 hours that I need. So, good amount of restorative sleep. There is, however, room for improvement, but today is a very, very stressful but exciting day. So I'm hoping it doesn't derail all my positive efforts so far. Today is actually the day that we're recording the podcast episode with Nellie London, which is unbelievably exciting. I have followed her for the longest time. She got me through some of probably the worst periods in my life where I've had really poor body image. From the interactions that we've had with her organising the podcast, she seems exactly like what you think, just the sweetest human being in the entire world. And I'm so excited, but I am a little bit stressed and nervous as well. And I definitely should make sure that my hair is washed.
I was finally starting to see meaningful progress and feeling like my sleep was back in my control. But I have a tendency to get complacent when I think the battle has been won, and there was a huge risk that if I didn't keep trying, my sleep would slip right back down again.
We are ready to go. I want this to go up, not zoom in.
In an attempt to dodge my coffee cravings, I tried a trip on the train journey and prepared for my podcast with Nellie. And it distracted me for about 30 minutes. I said I wasn't going to have a coffee today, but I'm feeling a lag. I'm debating it.
Doesn't make you anxious. Wired.
Does make me wired. I think maybe the cookie will be enough, you know. Sugar. Somehow I pulled through. I had another wonderful conversation with an inspiring woman that filled my cup and was able to return to London. Still caffeine free, but motivation and energy were low. But my day's work was not over. I had an evening of sorting out my personal life to look forward to.
If anyone was after a flat update, bathroom is very, very, very almost done. No, that's happening. Oh, the glass panel's almost there.
Well, it's not almost done.
Yeah.
It's not fitted at all. It's just there. Okay, well.
It's no different to last time.
It really is one of those life chapters where the to-do list is never done, and if there's one thing I've realised this week, it's that I am sabotaging my sleep with the guilt I feel when I'm unproductive. I was not giving my body permission to rest. Whether we actually got into bed by 9 p.m, I'll let you guess, and you'll have to wait and see tomorrow.
Good morning. I've just been for a little walk on the treadmill, a little active rest day, and I'm going to make some breakfast. I'm going to do homemade like baked beans and eggs and potatoes, and then I'm going to look at my sleep data. So I didn't end up getting into bed at 9 last night. Myself and Dylan got home from the new flat at like 9:30, but I was in bed for 10, asleep not long after. However, I had probably the worst nightmare I've had in years, probably. Early this morning, someone was coming to kill me. You know when you're a kid and you have a nightmare and you have to pull the covers up all the way to your chin because you're scared that someone's going to grab you. And it's so hot. So then I got really hot and then I was really flustered, and it was just a little bit of a restless sleep. So I'm not sure what my data is going to say.
Even though I didn't make it into bed by 9, I was desperate to know whether I had finally been able to hit the 8-hour mark.
This has been the most active week I think I've had since running the marathon. My legs are in so much pain. Right, this is my breakfast. Good little bit of protein from the eggs and the beans, and fibre, carbs from the peppers, beans and potatoes, and hot sauce. Right, sleep data. 82%. Sleep.
Slept in quite late.
90% of the hours needed. Got 8 hours sleep. Nice.
We were in bed at 10, to be fair.
Less deep sleep. 90% of the sleep I needed. That is impressive. Sleep consistency up. And my sleep stress was up, which does not surprise me because I had that horrible nightmare. But I've got my sleep debt down to half an hour. Nice. Overall, we have made an improvement so far in the week. However, the challenge will be tonight and tomorrow night, because although my relationship with alcohol has changed significantly over the last few years, I do still drink. And as a medical professional, I will be the first to say that there is no good amount of alcohol to consume. That being said, I will likely be consuming alcohol this evening and tomorrow evening as well. And booze has an awful effect on sleep.
Not only was I super nervous that drinking would tank my progress, but I was worried talking so openly about it.
It's the price you pay.
It is the price you pay. I am also going to be super honest about the amount of alcohol that I drink, because although I do not want to be promoting alcohol consumption, I do recognise that it is a part of people's lives, and I want to accurately show how that might impact your sleep.
Before I could enjoy my evening's plans, I had a full day of work to get through. We are working on 3 videos that are super interesting, nothing like I've ever done before, and very challenging, but will hopefully give you an insight into the most exclusive health insights from clinics in London. So if you do not want to miss them, then make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. It's been busy, but of course it is very different from working in a hospital. I absolutely would not be able to stick on my red light mask and have a little pamper in the middle of the day a few weeks ago. Sorry guys, I fear I have been extremely absent on the vlog today, but I am just about to go to my friend's house for my dinner. I will see you in a bit.
Have you been doing all your videos or what?
No, they're just the vloggy ones.
Wow.
And I've been doing a video where I'm basically looking at my sleep data, and tonight is the first night I'm having some alcohol. Cheers! I was really shocked when we visited the longevity clinic earlier this week, and the doctor kept emphasising the importance of social connection. I was worried that if I fixated on perfection and made sure I was home every night by 9 p.m, I would miss out on those important nights where you're making memories with your friends. But there was a niggling question at the back of my mind. How much damage had I done to my progress? And was there a way of consuming alcohol so that it had less of an impact on my sleep? Good morning, team. As I do want to keep saying, I do not encourage the consumption of alcoholic beverages. However, this is a scientific experiment where my integrity is paramount. So last night we ended up having 2 bottles of wine shared between 3 of us instead of 1 bottle of wine shared between 3 of us. That is 2 divided by 3. I know I did just have to do that on the calculator. It is early in the morning. 5.94 units. Okay. I would soon find out the impact that 5.9 units had on my sleep, but whilst I waited, I wanted to find out more about the effect alcohol has on sleep and how you can minimise the impact. For full disclosure, I did also then come home and have 3 Reese's Pieces, which may also have impacted my sleep data. My wonderful boyfriend has just left the premises to go and do a weekly food shop. When he returns from his weekly food shop, I will go through my sleep data, which I have not looked at yet, but I am dreading because I have a feeling I will have messed up everything from the last week. In the meantime, I'm going to put my red light mask on, because if there is one side effect from drinking alcohol that I do not like the most, it is the effect on my skin. My skin gets so dry and dehydrated and just does not look cute. I always keep my red light mask on my desk so that I remember to use it when I'm doing work. I found a 2024 systematic review that found drinking alcohol delayed and reduced the duration of REM sleep, even with 2 standard alcoholic drinks, but this did get worse the more that you drank. What I found really interesting though was it took about 5 drinks to get to sleep quicker. It might just be me, but growing up in Britain, I think it's quite common to hear parents say they'll just have 1 drink to send them off to sleep, when actually that may not be the case and could be doing more harm to your sleep than good. Sleep data time. What's your guesses, Dylan?
I think it's going to be worse. Efficiency will be low, I think.
Let's see. I got 75% of the hours that I needed. I mean, it is a pretty big decrease after all the good progress I made. 64% sleep consistency, 4% high stress sleep. I got 6 hours, 20 minutes of sleep. Myself and Dylan woke up to this woman yelling.
It's 7 a.m.
It's 7 in the morning.
Yeah, a bit inconsiderate.
On a Saturday morning. I added 30 minutes onto my sleep debt. I felt like I'd taken a massive step backwards when I'd made so much progress that week. Sleep consistency was bad. It could have been better if when I got home I decided to go straight to sleep instead of sitting and eating Reese's in bed. I had the least amount of restorative sleep. It was my lowest sleep efficiency. We have backtracked a little bit. What's even worse is I had another social event that evening. But first we got to get out of London, into nature and spend some time with friends. You look so cosy. If you thought that it was time for bed, you would be mistaken. Myself and Dylan are still supposedly gonna go out to a friend's for a few beverages. However, our walkers wiped us out. We're ready for bed. But we should try and show face. But it does mean I am gonna break the number 1 rule of good sleep. That is right, friends. The coffee machine is back in action. I don't have another choice. Unfortunately, my late night caught up on me and I was about to take an even bigger step backwards in my journey to fix my sleep. It's overfilled! It's all too much! Please ignore the absolute state that is the kitchen. Don't look behind. Obviously, the second issue standing in the way of me having a good night's sleep is the consumption of alcohol. And for some reason I think I got away with it last night, and I don't want to push it because I've made a lot of good progress this week. I want my last day to have a good sleep score. Is that too much to ask? So I'm actually gonna bring some of these green drinks. They're no added sugar fizzy drinks, and I just think if I alternate one of these to one alcoholic beverage, no one's gonna clock that I'm not drinking, but hopefully it will limit my alcohol consumption. There's a sour cherry flavour, an orange flavour and a cola flavour. I'm gonna bring them and we are gonna pray. The other reason I need a good night's sleep is because tomorrow I am doing a talk alongside a winner of Love Island and advocating for health and wellness. So it would not be very proper if I rocked up to that panel hungover. So that will not be happening. Down the hatch. Coffee at 8 p.m. It was a recipe for disaster, and I had no idea how delusional I was being, thinking I could have caffeine, alcohol, a late night, and still string together a coherent sentence at my talk the next day. If there was one thing that would turn me off drinking for life, it's the way that my skin looks the next day. I work all week to get it hydrated and glowy and moisturised for a couple of glasses of wine to completely dry it out. The only thing I could do was try and stick to my green colas, but you'll have to wait and see whether temptation got the better of me. Once again, I fear that I really should not be talking about alcohol this openly on this channel as a medical professional. However, I feel like this is a really useful insight. In my later years, as I have gotten older, I have realised I tend to drink more alcohol when I'm not really enjoying myself as a little bit of like a social crutch. If I'm being honest, the company isn't that great. So last night I went to this friend's house and I had Uno alcoholic beverage. And then I realised I actually enjoy everyone's company quite a bit. They're all good friends. Then for the rest of the night, I just had those 3 green fizzy drinks. So no more alcohol. And just had a really, really, really good night. However, the company was unfortunately quite good that it did not mean I necessarily wanted to leave early. So we left at maybe 1:30. Actually made a further sensible decision not getting food on the way back, but as you may be able to tell by the dirty dishes behind me, we had noodles and then watched an episode of Bodies. But myself and Dylan are gonna go out and get our new tradition of our Sunday morning coffee, trying a different local coffee shop. And then I'm gonna come back and dissect my sleep data. Wake up. Before we see how much damage was actually done to my sleep data, I think it's time to talk about the most important lesson I learned from this whole experiment. One bad night's sleep is not the end of the world, and as you will see very soon, striving for perfection can do more harm than good. But I did not expect just how bad the data from my last night of the experiment would be. I'm running so late, but the Uber's on the way, so I'm gonna go through my sleep data. I have 5 minutes. So that is the lowest score I've got all week. My sleep debt has gone up to an hour, and my sleep stress was the highest for the whole week. I do not think I can end the experiment here. That is the worst sleep score I've got all week. So there is one intervention that I have not tried that I do really think will make quite a big impact, and that is doing one of the Headspace nighttime meditations. One more night. I think we need one more day of the experiment to try and redeem myself. I headed off to my talk, sipping my matcha and honestly feeling pretty deflated. But I was silly to think that one habit or one night would fix my sleeping. The answer is in the consistency and combination of all the little things that add up, and I should have had more faith in myself. I have made life or death decisions after not sleeping all night on a night shift. Of course, I was able to string together coherent sentences for the talk. I am made of stronger stuff, and I should have realised that. Obviously, what is bad for your sleep is stress. And as you can imagine, now is a little bit of a stressful period in my life because we are trying to move, and this is what the new flat looks like currently. New kitchen sink, old kitchen sink, kitchen. I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd wasted this opportunity to sort my sleep out. I have never dedicated this much time to my sleep habits, and honestly, with how busy life gets, I was worried that I'd never get this time again. We're gonna try not to fall out.
Yeah, and we're gonna not drop the sink.
Not drop the sink. Not drop the sink.
Because it will break.
I was putting a lot of pressure on myself that this was the last chance I would get to fix it once and for all. Excuse the pun, but I knew I had to throw the kitchen sink at it. While Crocs Boy was working on my wardrobe at the new flat, I tried one final time to search the internet for any other sleep optimising interventions I hadn't tried out of desperation. Tonight we are not cutting a single corner. What time is it now?
8:45.
Chamomile tea after dinner. In bed 9:30.
Okay.
Headspace on. Magnesium. I am going to get myself the highest sleep score of the entire week. Come hell or high water. Here is where the problems began. Instead of relaxing, I was hyperfixating on making sure everything was perfect to get my perfect score. Why does work always become so much more interesting at 9 PM at night? I just want to get 2 more things done
before I start relaxing.
I was obsessing over having 1 kiwi instead of 2. Do we have another kiwi?
Yeah, we got more.
Well, we should have 2 kiwis, that's what the science tells us.
No chances are being taken.
Yet not cutting the 2 things probably impacting my nighttime stress levels the most. Putting pressure on myself to be perfect and watching a medical drama. But I was sure that red light, earplugs, a blackout mask and meditation must be the answer to getting my perfect score.
There's no charge. I don't normally like having my phone by my bed, but I think the accountability of my sleep challenge may prevent me from being tempted to doom scroll. Dylan?
Yeah.
Gentle, warm wind. Oh, we haven't done that. Let go of tension, focus breathing, gratitude before bed, gentle wind down, relaxing the muscles, deep rest. Should we do deep rest? Yeah.
Welcome to tonight's wind down.
Good night, God bless. And I will see you in the morning with the highest sleep score I've had all week.
I'll be really interested to see what the data says, because strongly felt that that was my worst night's sleep of the whole week. And I have 2 hypotheses why. Number 1, I didn't do any morning movement yesterday and I just didn't really feel as tired. Number 2, and probably the most important reason, I put so much pressure on myself yesterday for last night to be a good sleep that I actually felt really, really anxious. And I know it's obviously only a silly little YouTube experiment, but I think the action of putting the mask on, putting the earplugs in, making sure I was in bed on time, all built up to add this pressure. I just didn't get to sleep. Quickly, I ended up counting sheep. My mind was really like whizzing. And that is definitely what happens when you go to bed and you're like counting how many hours sleep you're gonna get. Which could possibly be the downside when it comes to tracking this sort of data. However, I'll see what the data says. I'm gonna go for a little Stairmaster and then come back and have a little look. The biggest mistake I made was treating sleep like any other goal that I had. Riling myself up, giving it my all, throwing all my determination at it, and not recognising that sleep is the one time in our lives that we need to give ourselves complete permission to switch off. It does not matter how much magnesium you take, cups of chamomile tea, or meditations you do, if you are stressed, you will never get good sleep. It's a lesson to all of us to stop looking for tips and tricks from others and start looking at ourselves. But I cannot believe it took me the whole week to accept the one habit having the worst impact on my sleep.
Okay, the final bit of sleep data. Before I see what my score was, and I am inevitably disappointed, I have learnt a lot from this week. It's given me a lot of things that I also would like to try. I think the next step would be not watching stressful TV just before bed. Dylan is nodding and laughing. He could have told me that a week ago. But I love it. Oh. Sleep performance, 75%. Hours I got versus needed, 81%. Sleep consistency, 44%. I got 7 hours, 6 minutes of sleep. I did not get enough deep sleep and I did not get enough REM sleep. I definitely feel like that. I felt like I was quite lightly sleeping all night. I was awake a lot longer than normal. I was awake for 57 minutes. Got to bed at 25 minutes past 10. Woke up at 6:28. And that was my second lowest score of the week. And my sleep efficiency was the lowest score of the entire week. I think the number one learning point from that is the pressure you put on yourself to sleep well has a huge impact. And I know it's easier said than done to try and ignore it, because that's exactly what I was trying to do last night when I realised I'd put so much pressure on myself. I was lying in bed thinking, Faye, you need to relax, you need to not think about this is not doing you any good. Obviously that did not help. It's definitely a reminder that there are no quick fixes.
Excuse the interruption, guys, but I am recording this from Japan because unfortunately the last clip on this vlog decided to not play ball. It is about 2 weeks after I filmed this vlog and I need to show you what my sleep score was last night. Now, if you're thinking, Faye, the proof is in the pudding. This has been the biggest failure of a YouTube video that is supposed to help you live a happier, healthier life, then I would understand you for thinking that. However, since I filmed this video 2 weeks ago, I've been more active than I have for months. I've been a lot more intentional with my sleeping habits, whilst also recognising the limitations of the data that you get from wearable devices. However, I've travelled to Japan. I'm extremely jet lagged, but I'm absolutely not going to let one sleep score on my phone dictate how I feel for the rest of the day, or more importantly, I'm not going to let chasing a perfect sleep score prevent me from living my life and making memories. If you did find this video useful, or you know what, even if you didn't, then please let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you in the next video. Mwah!